Los Christianos, Tenerife, well known for its beach life and water pursuits, but perhaps less well known for its ferry port. We'd arrived a few days earlier on a charter flight from the UK and had spent our time mixing with the holidaymakers so as not to attract unwanted attention. However, the day for the exchange had arrived and we took up our positions on the harbour wall, overlooking the open sea on the one side and the ferry terminal on the other. From our elevated vantage position, we could clearly see the diners in the terminal cafe and the various terminal pontoons. We could also see the tankers that were in place ready to refuel the ferry upon its arrival. Whilst we waited, we reflected upon the seriousness of what was about to come and watched the holidaymakers enjoying their parascending. And the locals moving to and fro in various craft across the water. Like the crabs, all oblivious of the sinister events about to unfold. We could just make out the ferry in the distance, it having departed San Sebastian de la Gomera some time previously. It appeared to be right on time, being due at Los Christianos at 12:30. We watched the slow approach with some trepidation. Nothing could be allowed to go wrong at this late stage. At last, the Vulcan de Taboriente eased into its docking station, and the vehicle gangway was lowered gingerly onto the solid-looking pontoon. The quayside operator went about his duties with an obvious competence. Clearly, nothing could be done until the vessel was secured safely in position. With all the ropes taut, it was time for the vehicles on board to be driven ashore. So far, everything was going exactly to plan. While some of the passengers were happy to wait, others were already disembarking from the aft gangway and making their way safely across the lanes of queuing traffic to the footpath below the harbour wall. Refuelling was already underway. It was important to maintain an appearance of normality as the fuel oil was pumped steadily to the ferry's storage tanks. Even as the refuelling was progressing, a lone water scooter rider was making his way swiftly along the length of the harbour wall. With all the vehicles disembarked, it was time for those waiting on the quayside to be driven aboard. It looked as if the planned exchange would go ahead without a hitch. There was nothing more we could do, so we retraced our steps along the harbour wall and checked that everything looked right from the harbour entrance. At 2 o'clock, we were in position to see the ferry ease away from its mooring. At last, the signal was given, an R for received, and finally we were able to relax. The exchange had obviously gone well. We stood and watched as the ferry was carefully manoeuvred into position. We'd been involved in a lot of clandestine operations, but never before had we been so relieved to see a ferry depart on its journey to the open sea.